Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AF for Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. By the way, back to talking about the Boston Muslim massacre bombing. The suspect Zokar, the one that they captured in the boat, he actually wrote kind of a manifesto in the boat, on the inside of the boat, saying when you attack one Muslim, you attack all Muslims. Talking about his brother being a martyr. He wasn't sorry that his brother died. He looked forward to joining his brother in paradise. The victims, the 3 that died, the 15 that had their legs blown off, the 260 wound up in the hospital, they were collateral damage was the term that he used, and he used the expletive F, said F America, wrote that on the boat. Also wrote the phrase praise Allah on the side panels of the boat, had several anti-American screeds, including references to the infidels, that would be you and me, and all the victims of the Boston massacre. Now, we want to talk about this SEAL Team 6 business. You might have heard something about it, and I'm honored to welcome to our decision maker line Tom Wallace. Tom is the founder of an organization called Fortress of Faith. This is a ministry that has 3 objectives: to resist Islam, to reject Muslims, and to revive America. Tom Wallace, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher.
Brian, it's great to be with you. Let me just correct one thing. It's not to reject Muslims, but to rescue them.
Oh, did I say reject?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, that my bad, because it's to resist Islam and to rescue Muslims. I just misread it. It's right here. You know, and maybe you could explain the difference, Tom, because that's exactly where we're at here at Focal Point and AFA. We want to resist Islam, but we want to rescue Muslims. Our beef is not with people, it's with the ideology and the religion.
Exactly, and that's why I appreciate your all's ministry, and I follow you on the radio myself. And, you know, Islam is the ideology. The Muslim is the follower, the people, and they're blinded by a false religion. Many of them are born into it. And most of the Muslims that have come here to the West, about 80% of them, are not even practicing Islam, really. And they have an opportunity to get away from it. But the sad thing is that Christians are afraid of them. We won't talk with them. And our ministry is equipping, the Christians here in North America with the ability to engage Muslims with the gospel, rescue them from this dark, destructive, devilish religion. And the only answer to the Islam issue is national revival. And so those are the 3 objectives of our ministry.
Well, Tom, let's focus our attention on Afghanistan and this SEAL Team 6 business. And I want you to walk with us through the concerns we have about the deaths of the members of SEAL Team 6. They went down in a helicopter. We got many reasons to be concerned, a lot of unanswered questions about what happened that day. So walk us through your best understanding of what happened that day.
Well, first of all, this is a scandal. This is a terrible tragedy. Our SEAL Team 6 members, 25 of them, were on a Chinook helicopter, not the equipment that they normally are sent in for special operations. Someone sent them in on faulty equipment. I mean, it was the Chinook was built in 1965. It was refurbished in 1985. Not the type of equipment to go into a hot zone. Because of the new ROEs, rules of engagement that the Obama administration has handed down to the military, there was no suppressing fire. There was no escort for this chopper. And basically they were sitting ducks. And, so there was a great deal of suspicion as to what happened on this event. The families had last Thursday, just after the Benghazi hearings, they had a press conference there in Washington, D.C. at the press room, and they had 4 or maybe 5 of the families of the SEAL team members, and they're raising the concerns. They're not getting answers. The Obama administration is not being transparent, even though they promised to be so. There's a lot of questions, and they are asking for help. They're asking for the public to raise up and require our congressmen to hold an inquiry into this.
And I think, Tom, if I'm not mistaken, I'm looking at a piece here by Phil Cowan on American Thinker. There is also a little bit of a question about how many SEALs were on this one helicopter. Typically, don't they try to kind of split them up?
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of the big questions. Why were so many of that team on one chopper? Why were they put on, this chopper? And there was no escort for this chopper. There was no suppressing fire to protect the landing zone for these men coming into a hot fire zone. I mean, there was a 3.5 firefight going on with the Rangers there. So, and all week there'd been firefights going on. So they knew it was a hot zone.
So,
why were they sending these people in?
And this was a commercial-grade helicopter. It wasn't the more heavily armored combat-grade helicopters that they normally use.
Apparently, it's just a vehicle used for transporting, not for this type of operation. That's one of the questions that they've got. But, Brian, there was a disgraceful event after their death. When the bodies were, it's called the ramp ceremony. It happened at Bagram Air Base there in Kabul. They had a ceremony. Here are the soldiers saying farewell to their fallen comrades, sending them back. You had 30 caskets draped with the U.S. flag. Reportedly, 25 of them were SEALs. The other 5 would have been servicemen, maybe the chopper crew. Then there were 8 Afghani soldiers on that flight as well, and that's a bit of a question because the 8 that were originally on the manifest to go in with them were changed at the last minute. And the family's asking, who were these people? To this day, we don't even know who these 8 Afghani soldiers were. We don't know if they were sympathetic to the Taliban or whatever. There's a lot of unanswered questions, and the families aren't getting answers. But here's the greatest crime. They had a ceremony. They had, of course, a chaplain pray, and because of the new rules and stuff they were coming down because of political correctness, they cannot mention the name of Jesus Christ. That in a sense is an insult. But they had a Muslim cleric pray over the bodies. Now picture this: 30 dead Americans and 8 dead Afghani soldiers. Here's what he said in his prayer. Of course, he's saying his prayer in Arabic, but this is the translation. He is saying, he's speaking of 2 different companions, the companions of the fire and the companions of heaven. Now, I'm doing a master's degree in Islamic studies. I've been dealing with Islam for many years. This prayer that was given in this funeral is nothing traditional to the prayers that I'm familiar with in Islam. The Saluta Janaza was not being uttered, at least we don't have that on the tape. And here he is, he's saying, what we have here is a cleric who is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he is making an innuendo. He's saying, these Americans are the infidels. He's saying, let me read the transcript. The companions of the fire are not equal with the companions of heaven. The companions of heaven, the Muslims, are the winners.
So you got this situation, Tom, and it took a while for this to come out because the video of that ramp ceremony had to be translated from the Arabic into English. And so you've got this deal where you got this imam there, and you have these 30 caskets of American soldiers, 8 of Afghani soldiers, and in his prayer as he's speaking in this ceremony, he is describing in his remarks, in his prayer, he's describing the U.S. soldiers as companions of hellfire and the 8 Muslims as companions of heaven and as the winners.
Exactly. And it's worse than this. This video of the ramp ceremony usually is commonly sent to the families of the victims. But the families of the SEAL Team 6, the deaths there, none of the families knew of this video. They only just recently learned about it. The government was suppressing it. They didn't want them to know it because of what was on the tape. They knew that if the families got it, they would know and be able to figure out what this imam was praying.
Now, the families were also, I think, Tom, upset with what Joe Biden did in all of this by divulging the names of the members of, or identifying SEAL Team 6.
Exactly. They believe that President Obama and Vice President Biden used SEAL Team 6 as a political tool to get reelected, but in doing so, they put a target on the backs of their sons. And look what happened. They were killed.
Now, let me ask you this question, Tom, as we kind of come to a close here. You know, Phil Cowan's piece, American Thinker, has an intriguing headline, was SEAL Team 6 sent on a Uriah mission. Of course, Uriah was the guy that David sent out. He told Joab, look, I want you to put this guy at the point of the battle where the fire is the heaviest, and I want everybody to retreat, leave him exposed. He'll be taken out, he'll die, and my tracks will be covered. And so this Phil Cowan is kind of wondering, well, is that kind of what happened? Were these guys sent into an ambush with these 8 Afghanis? We don't know who they are. They're sent in on a commercial-grade 1960s helicopter instead of a heavily armored. They got SEAL Team 6 members stockpiled on one aircraft, and then this ambush hits. I mean, any possibility that that's the way it went down?
You know, it's interesting. I'm not familiar with that article, but that's the exact same thing that I said to describe this. It's like the SEAL Team 6 was set up. I spoke to Larry Klayman, who is the lead counsel for the SEAL Team family members that's holding these charges and pressing forward, trying to get an inquiry and actually going to be holding some lawsuits. And I asked him just off the cuff, you know, kind of out in left field, do you think that perhaps maybe President Obama, to make a political favor, you know, or deal with someone over in the Middle East, sold out our SEAL Team 6? Thinking, you know, certainly this guy's, you know, going to say, no way, you know, we're not that far. It's not that much of a cuckoo situation. I couldn't believe it. He said, you know what, we suspect it, although the person we mainly suspect is Karzai, I think that's his name, over in Afghanistan, the president there.
Yeah.
They think he's the one who sold him out.
All right, Tom, listen, I appreciate it very much. Our guest in our Decision Maker line has been Tom Wallace. He is the founder of Fortress of Faith. Their objectives, very noble, to resist Islam, but to rescue Muslims and to revive America. That's the same heart that beats here at Focal Point and AFR. Tom Wallace, thank you for taking time to be with us. Very informative.
Thank you, Brian.
Tom Wallace, Fortress of Faith. He's the founder of that ministry. We come back, we'll take your calls, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Talk about abolishing the IRS. Want to know what you think? Back in 2.
From a distance.